It's September 1st. You walk into a Manila mall, and Christmas music is already blasting. Fully decorated trees standing next to back-to-school supplies, but there is a Santa Claus inside, wearing a full velvet suit, actively dying of heat stroke. Next to a plastic pine tree. The security guard, surrounded by floating stock website watermarks, stops you, checks your bag for weapons, looks you dead in the eye, and says Merry Christmas. Filipinos love Christmas, but that doesn't explain why it lasts 4 long months. Love doesn't automatically mean September through January. It doesn't explain why Christmas here outlasts summer vacation, why it starts before autumn exists, why an entire third of the calendar belongs to one holiday. It all begins with Spain, who colonized the Philippines for 333 years. They brought Catholicism and made it stick harder than anywhere else in Asia. They also brought guilt and sleep deprivation. Simbang Gabi is the ultimate test. You wake up at 3 a.m. for 9 consecutive days to prove your devotion by fighting the urge to pass out in a wooden pew. You look at the guy next to you, head dips, snaps back, dips again. He is losing a battle against consciousness while the priest lectures him on perseverance. Spain eventually left in 1898. The traditions didn't. Filipinos kept Simbang Gabi, kept the parol or lanterns, and kept the entire Catholic Christmas framework. 9 days apparently wasn't enough. Filipinos took this Spanish tradition and just kept going. By the early 1900s, Christmas became tied to the agricultural calendar. Harvest season ended around September, which meant money finally came in. Starting in the 1970s, Filipinos began leaving. They went to the Middle East, to Hong Kong, to America, wherever work existed that paid better than at home. What was once tied to rice harvests became tied to how much your relatives could send back from other countries. The Philippines has 2.2 million people working abroad right now. That's 5% of the workforce sending money home to keep families afloat, and there's a reason the government doesn't send them back. The Philippine economy runs on exporting its own people to countries that'll pay them more to raise someone else's kids than their own. December remittances hit $3.2 billion, and everyone knows since it's the most reliable cash injection in the entire economy, and it happens at the exact same time every single year. But you can't just drop $3 billion into an economy in 2 weeks and expect people to manage it responsibly. Just look at American holiday spending, Black Friday stampedes, Cyber Monday crashes, maxed out credit card debt.
'Cause I have $30,000 in credit card debt.
By January, consumer debt peaks, and people spend the next 6 months paying it off. That's what happens when you force an entire year's worth of gift giving into a 2-week window. So the Philippines does something smarter. They spread Christmas across September to December. September is budget planning. Families sit down and figure out who needs what. October is when you start buying in installments, because most stores will let you pay in chunks. November is when you finish shopping without panic. Finally, in December is when you actually get to enjoy the holiday, instead of spiraling into debt. Filipinos engineered a system where the holiday doesn't financially murder you. Every Filipino worker gets a mandatory 13th month pay bonus before Christmas. By law, this is required, and that bonus has to cover Noche Buena, which is the Christmas Eve feast that somehow needs to feed an entire neighborhood. It has to cover gifts for every godchild you have, because that's a social contract you can't break without becoming the villain of the family. Other countries would call this financial planning. Filipinos know what it actually is. While some know Christmas as a winter holiday, in the Philippines it is tropical. That should be a problem, but it's not. Because September through December is the Philippines' cool season. And by cool, we're talking 24 degrees Celsius instead of 34. No snow, no freezing temperatures, just tolerable humidity. That matters more than you'd think. Outdoor celebrations and peril displays hanging outside homes. All of this works because the weather actually cooperates for 4 straight months. Try throwing a massive outdoor Christmas festival in Manila during summer, and you'd lose half your attendees to a heat stroke. Around July and August, you're getting typhoons, flooding, and rain that turns streets into rivers. September hits, and suddenly you can plan outdoor events without checking if a storm is going to cancel everything. December is the peak cool dry season. It's the closest thing to winter the Philippines will ever get.
Have you been a good boy? I know you have. Come on, Santa's got a surprise for you.
Remember those 2.2 million overseas Filipino workers? They don't all come home on the same day. Flight schedules vary. Work contracts end at different times. Extended families are scattered across 7,000 islands. And obviously you can't coordinate 50 relatives showing up on December 25th itself. Christmas in the Philippines signals the start of the reunion season. And the reason it needs 4 months is because you physically cannot fit every cousin, childhood friend, former classmate, and neighbor into a single 24-hour period without someone getting left out. And leaving someone out can mean creating a grudge that will be mentioned at every family gathering for the next 15 years. However, when it comes to gift giving, it isn't optional. You owe gifts to your godchildren, and if you're Filipino, you probably have at least 10. You owe gifts to neighbors, co-workers, distant relatives you see once a year. All these families and reunions need a place to gather. To fit your entire extended family in one house can be a struggle, but if there is one place in the Philippines where you can take your returning relatives to flush their savings down the drain, that is in the ginormous malls the nation has to offer.
Peace be with you all.
The Philippines has some of the biggest malls in the world. During winter, they're climate-controlled living rooms for families who can't fit everyone in actual houses. September 1st hits, and every single one becomes a tinsel-covered money vacuum. Because mall executives figured something out decades ago. The 13th month pay drops in November and December. Remittances spike at the exact same time. Families have cash and nowhere to spend it, except here. So why wait until December, when you can start the extraction in September? And the naming of these months wasn't that creative, but rather logical. Some retail strategists noticed 4 consecutive months end in Ber. September, October, November, December. Called them the Ber Months, launched campaigns around it. And instead of laughing at the obvious consumerism, Filipinos made it part of who they are. Now retailers build their entire year around these 4 months. Ad budgets get front-loaded to September, because if you're not selling Christmas by then, you've already lost. But some of the Filipino workers will not be able to get home. That's where the balikbayan box comes in. If you have relatives abroad, you know the drill. Somewhere around September, your aunt in Dubai starts shopping. Not for themselves, but for their eagerly waiting family back home. A massive cardboard container that will cross oceans carrying chocolates, canned goods, clothes, maybe some electronics if the budget allows it. The 4-month timeline exists partly because shipping takes forever. 6 weeks from the Middle East, 8 from North America. Add customs delays, port backlogs, rural delivery schedules, and you're sending in September just to guarantee arrival by November. But calling these care packages is sanitizing what's actually happening. Open one and the inspection starts immediately. Relatives will inventory every item. Ferrero Rocher means they're doing fine. Hershey's means they're managing. Store brand chocolate raises questions about what went wrong. Name brand clothes get compliments. Knockoffs get side eyes. Electronics mean you made it. Cheap stuff means you're struggling but trying to hide it.
Excuse me, what the actual f*** are you doing in my house?
The boxes arrive just before the holiday itself, but there's a reason that timing works so well. It coincides with the longest break most Filipino students will get all year. During the Christmas break, the second week of December through early January is the only time students get more than a few scattered days off, 3 to 4 weeks. The longest break all year, and the week before it starts is designed to break you. Finals compress into 4 days. Group projects that should have taken weeks are due simultaneously. Professors who've been lenient all semester suddenly remember they have standards. Students show up running on 3 hours of sleep and convenience store coffee, calculating the minimum grade needed to pass while memorizing things they'll forget by New Year's. Then it ends. You survive, and you get a month where nobody expects anything from you. That only works because the 4-month Christmas runway already exists. Imagine cramming that same finals week into late December, while also trying to attend family reunions, open balikbayan boxes, and pretend you're enjoying the holiday, celebrating while still operating at full capacity. The Philippines doesn't do that because it can't afford to. It feels like the corporate calendar slows down in September. Clients stop expecting instant responses. Deadlines get pushed without anyone apologizing. Government offices post reduced hours by November. The entire country operates under a shared agreement that nobody's working at 100% from September through December, and that's fine. Expected even. So 4 months of Christmas, September through December. This video's late, but if you're watching during the holidays, you made it. You survived the longest Christmas season on the planet. Enjoy it while it lasts. Merry Christmas.